Compulsion Games, the studio behind South of Midnight, is reportedly first on the chopping block, and according to a fresh Push Square report from this weekend, they are not the only Xbox studio whose name is being whispered in the worst possible context right now. Double Fine, Ninja Theory, Compulsion, 3 names, 1 brutal weekend of rumors, and if the leaks are right, Xbox is about to look very, very different by the time you wake up next month. Let me walk you through what is actually on the table, because the internet has gone completely feral, and I want you to know what is sourced and what is pure speculation. Push Square published their piece on June 15th, 2026, and the framing is important. They are reporting on rumors. They are reporting that Kotaku is reporting Compulsion Games will be, quote, among the first to fall. That is the language, first to fall, for a studio that just shipped South of Midnight, a game Xbox itself put marketing muscle behind. That phrasing hits like a truck. But here is the part nobody saw coming. The rumor mill is not just talking about closures, it is talking about studios going independent, as in walking out from under the Xbox umbrella entirely. Push Square's headline literally says several Xbox studios are in talks to become independent. Think about that for a second. These are teams Microsoft spent real money to acquire. Ninja Theory has been part of the Xbox family since 2018. Double Fine joined in 2019. Compulsion came in back in 2018 too, and now reportedly some of them might be trying to buy their own freedom back. Is that better than being shut down? Maybe. For the developers, absolutely. For Xbox's first-party strategy, that is a different conversation entirely. Now, why is this happening? Push Square frames it as new leadership wrestling with what they call an almighty mess. That is the quote, an almighty mess. And if you have been paying attention to Xbox over the last couple of years, you know exactly what that mess looks like. Wave after wave of layoffs, project cancellations, studios closed, the Tango Gameworks situation, the Arcane Austin shutdown, a constant drumbeat of bad news that has made every Xbox developers group chat a place of pure dread. So when a weekend hits and 3 beloved studio names start trending alongside the word closure, you understand why people are losing it on social media. Push Square literally describes the speculation as awful to witness. That is not hype language. That is a game site watching developers panic in real time. If this kind of inside baseball industry stuff is the thing you actually want explained without the doom scrolling, hit subscribe, because this story is going to keep moving and I am going to keep tracking it. Now let me re-anchor what we actually know versus what is being whispered. What we know per Push Square, citing Kotaku, is that Compulsion Games is reportedly first in line for closure. What we know is that Double Fine and Ninja Theory have been named in the broader rumor cycle. What we do not know, and what nobody has confirmed on the record, is the final list. We do not know the timing. We do not know if the independent studio talks are real negotiations or wishful thinking from inside those buildings. And that is why you have to be careful with every tweet you see this week. Every leaker is going to have a list. Every list is going to be different. And every one of them is going to use words like confirmed, when what they actually mean is I heard from a guy. So let us talk about what is actually at stake here. Compulsion Games is based in Montreal. They made We Happy Few. They made South of Midnight, which only just came out. If the reporting holds up and they are the first to fall, you are looking at a studio being closed essentially right after delivering a game. That is the kind of move that sends a chill through every developer working on a mid-budget Xbox project right now. Because if shipping a game is not enough to save you, what is? Ninja Theory is the Hellblade studio, the team behind Senua's Saga, a studio with a very specific identity, a very specific creative voice, and a very loyal audience. The idea that they could be on a closure list, even as a rumor, is the kind of thing that would have sounded insane 2 years ago. Today it just sounds like Tuesday. Double Fine is Tim Schafer's studio, Psychonauts' brutal legend, a studio with decades of history and a fan base that treats Schafer like a folk hero. If Double Fine is genuinely in talks to go independent, that is not a small story. That is a generational shift in how the biggest publisher in gaming treats its creative teams. And here's the question that keeps nagging at me. Why all 3 at once? Why this weekend? Push Square's reporting suggests new leadership is making hard calls about an inherited situation, which means somebody somewhere inside Microsoft sat down with a spreadsheet and decided which studios make the cut and which ones do not. And then that information started leaking, because it always leaks. So what happens next? A few things to watch. First, watch for any official statement from Microsoft or Xbox leadership. They tend to confirm bad news on Tuesdays, often through internal memos that get screenshotted within minutes. Second, watch the studios themselves. If Double Fine, Ninja Theory, or Compulsion go quiet on social media, that is a tell. If they post something defiant, that is also a tell. Third, watch for the independent studio angle. If any of these teams genuinely spin out, that becomes a precedent. other studios will start asking for the same deal. And honestly, an independent Double Fine or an independent Ninja Theory could be a wild thing to watch. A team with a clear identity, freed from corporate roadmaps, suddenly able to chase whatever weird idea they want. That is not a tragedy, that is potentially a rebirth, but none of that is guaranteed. The much more likely outcome, based on the last 2 years of Xbox news, is that at least one of these studios does not make it out the other side. Push Square's language is not subtle. First of all, almighty mess. These are not phrases you use when you think everything is going to work out. Here is what makes this story different from the previous rounds of Xbox cuts, though. It is the speed, the scale of names being floated, the fact that the words going independent are even in the conversation. That suggests something more structural than another quiet shutdown. That suggests a reorganization of what Xbox even is as a publisher. And you, sitting there with a Game Pass subscription, are going to feel the downstream effects of this for years. The games on your dashboard, the studios making them, the kinds of risks anyone is willing to take inside the Xbox ecosystem. All of that gets recalibrated based on what happens in the next few weeks. So keep your expectations measured. Treat every leak or tweet with the side eye it deserves. Trust the outlets that show their work and cite their sources. And remember that behind every one of these rumor headlines, there are hundreds of real people refreshing their email and waiting to find out if they still have a job on Monday. That is the part that gets lost in the hype cycle. The numbers and the names and the trending topics. Behind all of it are developers who poured years into games you played, sitting in their kitchens this weekend, scrolling the same rumors you are scrolling, hoping their studio is not the next one named. The leak is the loud part. The aftermath is the quiet part. And the quiet part is where the real story lives. If you want me back here when the next name drops, like the video and subscribe, and I will see you the second this thing breaks open.